for tonight's practice. We're going to kind of go for the whole shebang. So if you have a bolster or a bed pillow, something that's like a sturdy cushion, that'll be awesome. Either a block or a big old book. I have the complete works of Shakespeare here. So either way. And then I have with me today 2 blankets. One's a throw blanket from my couch. Hey, Carly, one's a yoga blanket. I think that you could easily do this practice with 1 blanket, but it won't be quite as cozy. So a bolster, a block, or a book, 2 blankets, or beach towels. If there are beach towels, maybe it's a few beach towels or a couple beach towels, and then a strap. So keep in mind that anything around the house can be a yoga prop if we let it. So a couch cushion can act as a bolster, a throw blanket, a yoga blanket, a leash or a robe tie or some sort of long scarf, winter scarf could also act as a yoga strap. And once you find all of those tools present, we'll start our practice together. So I've shared some white noise with you, and it's a forest creek. If at any point that gets distracting, holler at me. But it's to allow a level of sound barrier between you and the rest of the world around you. So maybe you put in headphones, maybe you kind of enjoy it as an ambient sound throughout our practice. And at the end, I'm hoping to source provided, be able to play some singing bowls for you for a final Shavasana together. But we'll start with 10 or 15 minutes of some slow and gentle yoga to warm up the joints in our body so that when we rest in these postures, we can find that softness and that melting without the ache. So whatever you've chosen for a bolster, whether it's a firm pillow from your bed or a cushion from your couch, go ahead and place it on the floor. And then we're going to take a seat on that bolster. It's going to sit us up much higher than a blanket. So it's going to bring a lot more ease than just a regular blanket would. From this seated posture, we're going to take it slow and gentle, finding an easy seat. Maybe one leg in front of the other. Maybe we widen the knees out towards the side, pull the belly in. We just make space for ourselves, knowing that there is no shape we're looking for today. There are no metrics that we're trying to meet. That tonight is all about how we feel, the sensations that arise in our physical body, and melting away any tension. And to start our practice tonight, from whichever seat you've chosen, go ahead and let your gaze soften and diffuse or your eyes close. Let's get in touch with the natural breath within our body. So as you sit here, you might notice the body breathing all on its own, without your effort or even your permission. The body finds a natural inhale and exhale. And as you breathe here, notice where you feel the breath in your body, without trying to change a thing, without labeling it enough or not enough, good or bad. We simply witness our breath in our body as it is. What portions of your body rise or expand as you inhale? What softens and relaxes as you exhale? Maybe you feel your breath in your belly, maybe your heart and chest, maybe even your shoulders. We just notice and allow. And then to regulate our nervous system even more deeply, on your next inhale, send your breath down deep into the belly. Feel the belly expand and stretch. Then let the ribs and lungs fill. And then let that breath go from the body completely. Feel the shoulders melt as you do. Before once more sending your breath down deep into the belly, feeling that stretch and expansion as you exhale, soften and release. Continue these big, deep body breaths in. Let the exhale slowly trickle from the nose or mouth. Feel the shoulders melt from the ears as you do. Deep breaths into the belly and the heart stimulate our vagal nerves, regulating our nervous system, signaling to our brain and body that it is safe, that we can be here present in this moment. When you're ready, we'll find some movement. So imagine there's a pencil sticking out the top of your head, graphite side up. We're going to draw little circles. Just small circles, maybe the size of an apple or a tea saucer. We're going to let those circles be small and slow. You might even draw with the pace of your breath, inhaling as the face rounds back, exhaling as it rounds forward. These small, gentle circles, relaxing through the tongue and the jaw, letting the shoulders melt as you draw. Notice the weight of the head gently shifting round and round as you draw these little circles. Letting your mind's eye notice just that slight shift in the weight of your head. And then let's start drawing those circles a little bigger. You might let them grow. Each circle a little small or a little larger, than the one before it. Letting them grow at your pace, not anyone else's. You might notice as the size of your circles grow that so does the weight of your head. And you might continue to draw these circles bigger and bigger until the full weight of your head is surrendered into this rotation, and only if it feels good, right? Let's honor where our body is today. But as you draw these big, slow circles, maybe still moving with the breath, exhaling as the face rounds forward, inhaling as it rounds back, we notice now how heavy the head has become. You might even notice how intensely you feel this stretch rotating around the circumference of the neck now. These big, slow circles. While you draw these big circles, check in with the belly. Has any tension snuck up? Can you release and let go? Sending a deep breath into the belly as you continue to draw these circles. From wherever you are, let the head roll to a stop and switch directions. Big round circles. Beautiful. If you're also crossing your legs as you draw these big round circles, switch your legs. Whichever leg is on top or in front, let it become the leg on the bottom. And then come right back to your big, slow circles. Now we'll reverse our circles, not in direction, but in size. As we draw these circles, let them shrink, nice and slow, at whatever pace brings you delight. And we'll let these circles shrink and shrink. You might even shrink to the size of a tea saucer or an apple once more. And then let those circles continue to shrink until the head is stacked, floating in stillness above the shoulders. From here, we'll find this same movement, but instead of the neck, we're going to bring it down into the hips and pelvis. So leaving the neck in alignment with the rest of the spine, we'll still imagine that pencil on the top of our head, and we'll draw little tea saucer or apple-sized circles yet again. But this time the movement is from the hips. Notice the weight of the torso, just like the head once was, gently shifting round and round. You might notice your sits bones, so those bony protrusions under each butt cheek. You might notice as you draw these circles, pressure shifting from sit bone to sit bone, back to the other sit bone. Round and round, these gentle little circles, and then let them grow. Again, choosing the pace that is yours and no one else's. Kind of taking in a what I want is what matters most attitude for this practice. So let those circles start to grow and you draw them at the pace that feels good for you. And if I give you a direction that's in opposition to your actions that feel so good in your body, know that I am just speaking in suggestion, that you are in charge of your experience. And if you delight in a sensation or in a movement, and I'm telling you to change, don't. Choose you, trust you. But let those circles in the hips grow and grow. And you might notice I'm pressing the palms against the top of my thighs, and I'm using my arms as an anchor, both as I round forward, supporting my torso, and as I round back, anchoring the palms on my knees or thighs to help support the circles that I'm drawing, until I'm drawing them as large as feels good in my hips. From wherever you are, slow to a stop and switch directions. Just spending time doing this and feeling the weight of your body shift round and round. You might once more bring your mind's eye down into those sits bones, those bony protrusions, and notice now that your circles are big and wide, how much more pressure you feel. Rotating from one sit bone to the other. The bigger these circles, the harder that pressure. And then let's let these circles shrink, growing smaller and smaller and smaller. Letting effort decline as our circles shrink. Feeling how the weight of the body goes from intense to this gentle shift from sit bone to sit bone as those circles shrink. And we continue to shrink and shrink until the hips are stacked beneath the shoulders beneath the neck. Wonderful. From here, we'll do some cat-cow on our hands and knees before we move into our first posture, that is cobra. So from wherever you are, you might find hands and knees just like this. You might take the edge of your bolster beneath your knees. And I say the edge because the higher up your knees are propped, the more weight you'll feel in the palms of your hands and your wrists. So I place my knees on the edge of my bolster, and I'm either here on my palms or I've grabbed blocks or the side of my bed or an ottoman to place my forearms against. So from wherever you have chosen, we're going to drop the belly low, bring the head and the tail up. We're pressing the chin forward towards the wall in front of us, curling that tailbone up towards the ceiling, breathing deep into the belly here. Send those breaths down deep. Really feel the space you've created in your belly for the chest here. Know that with each deep inhale comes a deep release of the physical, habitual signs of anxiety and depression. And that when we release the physical signs, that physical habitual tension, that we also release it in the mind. The mind supports the body supports the mind. From here, we'll start to press down through our arms, feel our shoulder blades separate as we slowly drop the top of our head down towards the earth. And then when you're ready, curl your tailbone in, feel the low back lengthen. We find ourselves in cat. Really pressing that mat away, curling the tailbone in. On an inhale, drop the belly low, head and the tail come up. Exhale, we curl back into cat, moving at the pace of your own breath, back and forth, exploring this posture in your body and all of the sensations that arise in it. On an exhale, find a neutral spine. Walk the hands back towards the body. We come up onto the forearms. We come up onto the shins. And from here, we find our restorative cobra. For this, we need a block, our bolster, and an optional blanket. So for our block, we're going to place our block or our big book right here, wherever we would find our heart center, right? Because cobra is a heart opener. So wherever we might lay our heart, if our belly were down on the earth, that's where we place the block. Then we're going to take our bolster and make a ramp. So where the heart center is, I'm going to place almost the midline / head of my bolster, right? So I've created this little ramp for myself. At the bottom of the ramp, where the ramp meets the midline of your mat, this is where you lay the blanket. And so you might lay your blanket out flat in alignment with your bolster, just to create a gradient for the pelvis that's kind. If you really feel in cobra, or when you open up the heart center that the low back compresses, then you'll take the edge of your blanket that's against this bolster and roll it up into like a little Swiss roll. I don't know why we're talking desserts, but we are. A little Swiss roll that's going to hang just beneath the belly. So wherever this roll is, you know that the underside of your belly, your little fupa there, is where it's going to hang out. So when you find yourself all set up, you're going to lower down onto the mat. So from this place of a half push-up, we keep the elbows tucked in towards the side body. We bend them slowly down, letting the heart center melt. And then here, we make all of our adjustments. So my neck is far away from my bolster. I'm tempted to lay my head down on its side, but I don't want to do that. I want to encourage my gaze forward. So I'm going to grab that second blanket for underneath my neck and my chin. I'm going to grab the blanket, and just like down below, I'm going to create that little Swiss roll. Place it up underneath my chin. Gaze forward, palms down beneath the shoulders, elbows tucked into the side body. Let's check in with ourselves. Our first restorative posture, cobra pose. You might notice if you want to adjust the blanket here down at the pelvis, maybe you scoot it a little further down the body or further up the body. You decide, but we are looking for our ultimate comfort. Maybe your palms are beneath the shoulders here. Maybe you come into more of a Sphinx pose by sliding the palms forward until the forearms and the elbows rest gently on the earth. We want to create ease. We want to feel our heart center deeply connect to the props beneath us. This is a powerful posture. So once you've adjusted and shifted and checked your props, we're going to scan through the body for any jewelry or lumps or folds of clothing that we'd like to smooth, move, or remove. We take our time, we advocate fully for what we are experiencing because we are ultimately seeking effortlessness. We are ultimately seeking stillness. And so once you've made any and all adjustments, this is where we melt. First, by acknowledging the sensation of the heart center pressed down against the earth. Breathe deep into the heart and feel that pressure against the bolster or pillow intensify. Notice how it feels in the belly to take a deep inhale, and then as you exhale, let the shoulders melt. Let the belly and the pelvis melt down into the earth. We're here to let go, to be completely, knowing that if at any point our body is asking for something different, that we have permission to move, adjust, shift. But if our body will allow it, we might melt here into stillness. You might, with each inhale, feel the heart center press more strongly into the bolster beneath you. Let each exhale melt any effort in the jaw, the tongue, and the throat. Let the shoulders release and hang heavy. And once more, feel the gentle pressure of your heart against the props beneath you. Follow that gentle pressure down from the heart, down the front of the belly, into the pelvis. Feel the pelvis soften and relax. Release any effort in either glute. Let the body melt and release here. Relaxing any effort through the upper thighs. We melt through the knees and the knee calves, all the way down, or the kneecaps, all the way down to the calves, the ankles, and out through the toes. Allow your mind's eye to travel up now into the palms of your hand. Feel the palms of your hands here pressing down into the earth. This strong connection between you and Mother Earth. You might imagine with each inhale, your heart connecting more deeply with the earth beneath you. You might even imagine with each inhale, golden roots growing down from your heart center, down into the earth. These thin, golden tendrils sinking their way deep down into the crust of the earth, effortlessly pressing through any material between your heart center and the earth like it doesn't exist. Those golden roots growing and thickening effortlessly into the ground beneath you, cultivating this strong, rooted connection between your heart center and the earth. And it's in this place, this deep place of connection, that the earth invites you to let go. Those things that weigh heavy on your shoulders, your chest, and your mind, let them pour down through those golden roots, down through your heart center and into the earth. Know that the earth has invited you to lay your burdens down. So you might imagine with each exhale, send that which does not serve you, fear, judgment, stress and tension, a lack of trust in the universe. Whatever it is that keeps our chest tight, our shoulders tense, our tummy aching, We let it flow down through the heart center, down through those golden roots to be transformed by the earth. The earth gladly inviting anything that you can lay bare, knowing there is no such thing as too much. There's no such thing as too hard or too shameful. The earth holds space for it all unquestioningly, unconditionally, lovingly, holding space for anything we want to release and let go. When you're ready, when you feel like you have exhaled, released, and surrendered through those roots, any and every little thing, maybe you imagine specifics, maybe it's just sensation that you release and surrender. But when you've given all you have to give, take a moment if you'd like. Say thank you to the earth for this gift of receiving, of letting you let go without judgment, without pause. The earth unquestionably holding all that you have surrendered. And as the earth holds it, it looks at you and knows you are worthy just as you are. When your time together has come to a close, you might imagine those golden roots, those tendrils, receding back into your heart center, slowly and gently. The heart may be a little lighter than it was, maybe a little softer. From here, we begin to awaken the body. And we do this by deepening our breath, taking a big inhale into our physical form. And then exhale, release it nice and slow. Once more, when you're ready, take that deep breath in. And as you do, feel the pressure in the heart and the belly intensify. And then release the breath from your body. Invite that movement, that sensation building into the fingertips, rubbing them against the earth beneath you, noticing the textures and sensations that arise as you do. And then you might invite this same movement into the toes and the ankles, feeling sensation that comes up in the body as you move and stretch. What does it feel like to reawaken? Every tiny detail of our movement bringing with it a new adventure of sensation for our mind's eye to hang out with and observe. And when you're ready, you might, from this cobra posture, pull the palms back towards the chest. When you're ready, press back into a wide-legged child's pose. So I'm pressing through my arms, I'm lifting my heart center off the props, and then I'm lifting my pelvis, bending through the knees. I'm going to tuck my big toes together, walk my knees out wide, and invite my hips back towards my heels. Now you might pull your bolster towards you, up underneath your heart, and as you walk your hands forward, you might rest your heart upon that bolster. We move slowly, gently, and with intention, knowing that our awakening and transitioning from posture to posture brings with it every bit as much value, every bit as much for our mind's eye to explore as our stillness does. From here, slide the hands back up underneath the shoulders, We'll press up back onto our shins, getting ready for our second restorative posture. We'll move into a restorative bridge, which isn't quite opposite this posture, but it's definitely a different setup. So moving the blankets aside for now, moving the block aside, we'll lay our bolster, this time from left to right across our mat. Our bolster is going to support our hips in restorative bridge. Now, wherever our shoulders lie, we're going to place a blanket and choose your softest, squishiest blanket or towel. You're going to place it next to your bolster. So if you're sitting here facing that way, when you lean back, you'll lay your shoulder blades or your neck upon this blanket here. And then you'll take your seat, grab your strap, an option to grab this second blanket. So the first thing that we do is we're going to take our yoga strap, and if you have a traditional strap like I do, there's a D-ring at the top, and you can connect those D-rings by placing one end of your strap through both rings, and then placing the strap over top the ring closest to it, and then through the ring furthest to it. And it creates this adjustable loop. If you're tying a rope tie or a belt, you don't got to worry about that. Whatever you're using for a tie, step your legs through it. We're going to tighten the strap just behind the bend in our knees, so up on the thighs. And here's where this second blanket comes in. Sometimes I take this blanket and I roll it up into almost like a block-sized wad, and I'm going to place it between my knees as a cushion. I'm going to press it up between my knees and then tighten my strap over top of it. Now from here, we find restorative bridge. Now notice I'm shimmying towards the edge of my bolster. You'll probably want to do that. Shimmy forward until your sits bones catch on your bolster. From here, we're going to walk our hands back on our mat. So I leave my fingertips pointed towards my glutes as I continue to shimmy forward towards the edge of my bolster, and then walk the shoulders on down towards the earth. So here we are in bridge posture, and it's restorative bridge because we have this prop beneath our hips, and we also have this strap prop around our thighs. So from wherever you are, notice, does it feel good to walk your heels up towards your glutes? Does it feel good to walk them further away from your glutes? From wherever feels good, do you notice, do you enjoy heel toeing the feet out wider and letting your knees fall inward? Or do you enjoy heel toeing the feet inward and letting your knees fall outward? So experiment, play. Maybe you give the knees a little wag back and forth just to loosen the low back and the pelvis. We really just want to allow our body to settle into this posture. We're not forcing it. We're inviting, we're coaxing it. We're creating a luscious environment that our body wants to hang out in. So figuring out where you want the feet and the knees. I tend to like to walk my feet wide a little bit and let the knees press inward. Now let's adjust the heart center and the shoulders. You might keep your palms down by your sides. You might tee your arms out wide. You might find an even more intense heart opener by bending at the elbows into goalpost arms here. You might even go for it just stretching your arms up above your head. But wherever you choose, and just like before, maybe you do snow angels for a moment, just feeling where along this movement feels best to settle into stillness and to release. And then once you find that place, we'll close the eyes if we haven't, and allow the softening to begin. Starting once more with the shoulder blades and the shoulders. Let effort melt as they relax and surrender down into the earth. You might take a deep breath into the heart center. As you release, let the heart melt. Let the belly melt. Let the hips and the low back surrender. Give way entirely here. Let it all go. Allow your mind's eye to travel into the face. Notice if any tension has snuck up between the eyebrows, in your nose. You might soften through the cheeks, the lips, and the tongue. Let even the front of the throat relax and find ease here. As you lie here in stillness, know that if sensation arises that is painful or so intense that the mind begins to distract you by wandering or criticizing, feel free to shift and move. Give yourself permission to show up fully for your own experience. And with each exhale, we melt and release further here, letting go and letting be. Now in this stillness, if the mind's eye starts to wander, invite it back into the body. Notice how your natural breath expands and stretches, softens and releases as you inhale and exhale in your body. Let the mind explore this ever-changing sensation, knowing that the body is never truly still, even when we let it all go here. That the heart continuously pumps in our favor. That the muscles of the diaphragm continue to engage and draw breath into the lungs. That even in stillness, your body is working for your good in the best ways it knows how, with the tools that it has. And you might, in stillness, soften and release into that truth. Noticing the body breathing all by itself, trying to take care of you, whether you pay attention to it or not. What a sweet gift. You might also note in stillness with the hips above the heart here, we are in an inversion. We're bringing ease to the whole of our cardiovascular system. The heart gets to relax here because finally gravity is working in its favor. It's had to pump hard every day, pulling blood up from the toes, the legs, the thighs. And as you lie here, softening and giving way, the heart is thankful. Its load and effort lessened. We give love to the heart. When you're ready and it feels right, you might invite movement into the fingers and the toes. Yet again, allowing that gentle movement to bring with it sensation to the mind's eye. Notice what arises in the fingers as you move and reawaken. What sensation arises in the feet and the toes as you stretch and curl them. Inviting that movement to pour into the arms and the legs. You might even begin to let the knees rock from left to right. As far as feels good with that strap or what have you around the thighs. If it feels right with the bolster beneath the hips, this is a great opportunity to draw the knees up in towards the chest. You might even grab that strap to pull them in towards the chest here. Ooh, and then feel that low back lengthen, the vertebra lengthen every time we draw our knees up. And then once more, you might let those knees find a little wag here. Noticing maybe that low back massage here as we rock from side to side. Wonderful, wonderful. When you're ready, release the knees if you've drawn them up. Plant the pads of the feet. We're going to scoot our heels a few inches away from our glutes because we want to leave room for our bolster or whatever is beneath our hips. When you're ready, pressing through the pads of the feet, lifting the weight of the hips off the bolster, press that bolster away towards the heels. And it might be messy. Your bolster might be pretty big. We're just going to shimmy it down and away, up underneath the knees. And then extend the legs out long. Rest the knees atop that bolster. Let the arms fall out wide. You've found your next posture. Here you are in Shavasana. Shavasana, also known as corpse pose, is a posture of complete effortlessness. It's here we learn the art of not performing, but instead of performing, just being. You might find your breath in your body. Once again, noticing the inhales and the exhales. And you might just repeat a simple mantra to yourself in this restorative posture. With each inhale, you might think or say, I am. And with each exhale, here, I am here. A mantra so simple and so powerful. Claiming it with each breath you take. Knowing once again, you have all the permission in the world to shift, roll, adjust in any way that relieves pain or discomfort that distracts. And then invite yourself back into this place of stillness and release. Can we melt? Can we let go? We're no longer equating our worth with what we do, with how much we accomplish. We're no longer pouring the shoulds upon ourselves. We're simply allowing space for what is, without the intention to change it. It seems counterintuitive, but it's the seat of witness, this place where we can simply observe and allow with compassion. That we find some of the most intense transformations. And it's not because we pressed something forward. It's because we took time in stillness to witness and to be here. I am here. If at any point your body begins to feel dysregulated, deepen your breath. Take deep belly breaths, stretching and stimulating the vagal nerves, inviting the body into a place of regulation, embodiment, and connection with self. Once more, we invite that movement back into the body, starting with a deepening, exaggerated breath, letting that movement seep into the hands and the feet, the arms and the legs, knowing you can stay in any posture you like for as long as you like. There are no rules. I'm just here giving you suggestions for your adventure. When you're ready, bend the knees. Roll over onto the left or right side of your body, supporting your head with the upper arm. And then we'll press ourselves up. Our last posture is very, very simple. We're going to find crocodile pose with an option of a bolster beneath the pelvis. So I'm going to remove the strap from my thighs. Some folks enjoy leaving the strap there. And then once more, this bolster will place under the area of the hips. And our blanket, instead of the edge of it up against the bolster, we're going to fold it away from the bolster, leaving some space here. This blanket will become a pillow for our head as we lay down onto our bellies. So first, trying out the bolster. Once again, knowing the bolster is up underneath the belly. If you put it on the low belly, it's just going to compress. We don't want to do that. So first thing I do is I lower my pelvis down and make space for my belly in front of the pelvis or in front of the bolster. And then crocodile pose is once more that heart center surrenders. We're going to stretch our arms up overhead, and you might stack your forearms atop each other. You might stack your palms atop each other. But from wherever you are, we surrender our forehead down atop the hands or forearms. And you might stack your hands into fists if that feels good. You might roll up your blanket even higher if that feels good, creating a little more space for your breath from the ground. And then notice, do you enjoy that sensory feedback, the support of the pelvis? The support here keeps the low vertebra from compressing, kind of gives a nice low back stretch instead of a low back compression.
If you want to remove that, feel free to lift the hips and slide it out of the way. And then notice the forehead resting. Can you make any adjustments? You might, in this posture, turn your head one side or the other. We really want to find some effortlessness here. And begin to melt and let go. Feeling first that strong connection between your heart center and your mat. Notice how that connection, that sensation intensifies with each inhale. You might send your breath down deep into the belly and feel the belly press against the earth now with each breath in. Feel it relax. Feel the spine soften down towards the earth with each exhale. On your next exhale, we soften through the hips and the low back. We release effort through the knees and the calves, even down through the heels of the feet, tops of the feet, down through the toes. If at any point the tops of the feet don't feel like they're relaxing, we're going to spread the legs out even wider and then invite the tops of the feet to surrender just a little more. Once the feet have softened fully, let the mind's eye travel up the back of the legs, over the crest of your butt cheeks, up into the shoulders and the neck. Can we soften any effort in the neck, the jaw, and the tongue? Can we let that space between our eyebrows relax and soften? Surrendering here in this place. And as you soften and release into stillness, feel the breath lift and relax the whole of the torso. Remain here, breathing, being, and surrendering. You might even come back to your mantra, I am here. I am here. As you lie here, softening with each exhale, I'll spend our remaining time playing some singing bowls. So remaining where you are, continuing to soften, continuing to release, continuing to let go.
the breath be the movement that awakens the whole of your body. The breath alone inviting the sensation of stretching, expanding, softening, and surrendering. As you continue to awaken the body, inviting that movement into the fingers and the toes, the hands and the feet. You might slide the palms of your hands against the earth, settling them up underneath the shoulders or the chest. And when you're ready, one last time, press back into the wide-legged child's pose. You might allow the bolster that was once underneath the pelvis to slide underneath the heart center, supporting the torso. As you let the heart melt down, the arms extend overhead. Spend as much time here in child's pose as pleases your body. And then when you're ready, from child's pose, slide the palms back towards the body. Press up into a tabletop position. And from our tabletop, let's find a gentle seat. Maybe that's legs crossed in Sukhasana once more. Maybe we leave the legs extended. But from wherever we are, we'll end our practice by once more softening the shoulders and the ears. You might bring your palms towards the heart center in Arjuna Mudra. You might even take a gentle bow in the head if that feels good. We end our practice with an acknowledgement of the power of our stillness. Knowing that our choice to meet ourselves here, to do something that in our Western society we could go all week or all month without ever doing. Finding stillness with self, sitting present with self, learning to calm the whirlwind, the chaos inside us by feeling into our sensation, by allowing the breath to transform what we feel in our physical body, and simply the noticing, the witnessing of our rest, of the sensation that arises even in stillness. We transform our relationship with self, with rest, and with healing. Thank you for spending time with me tonight. The light in me, and the dark in me, the parts of me that desperately need stillness and rest, and the parts of me that are afraid to death. See the light and the dark in you, and we are the same, and we are here trying and doing. It's powerful. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.